Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contour Chemist. I'm excited about today's video. So this was a requested one, and this is all about a compare and contrast, pros and cons. I'm gonna go over the whole 9 yards, including a wear test, and we're gonna be comparing Lashify lashes with the new Falscara, whatever you want to say it, lashes by Kiss that you might have seen in stores recently. And I've been asked if I've tried them and which one's better. So I'm literally going to do a first impressions, my first time applying them, and tell you all of my thoughts. So if you want to see all about this new lash system and if it's better or if it compares to my Lashify that you guys know I am obsessed with. So keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe this video. If you like this type of video, let me know so I can do more, and thanks for being here. Okay friends, so if you do not know, disclaimer, I am a longtime wearer of Lashify. Okay, so Lashify is the patented beginner, started the whole trend of applying lashes underneath for the kind of undetectable lash effect that is like at-home lash extensions and last up to a week before you have to reapply, at least for me. So Lashify comes like this. I'll link all of my videos I've done on Lashify over the past almost 2 years. I've been wearing them on the daily. So disclaimer, I am a huge fan of Lashify. It was a complete game changer when I discovered it and didn't have to apply mascara to my lashes anymore. So I was requested to do this video because if you've been at the local drugstore or Walmart or wherever you shop and seen the new product by Kiss, they call it Falscara. And it is a very similar system. So I've been asked what I thought about it, and I was like, I have not tried it yet. So I am literally trying it for the first time on here. I got all of it. So I got the starter kit and I got the one in volumizing. And then there's also 2 other I guess styles. One is lifting and one is lengthening. Okay, so I'm gonna compare and contrast this product to Lashify, and I'm gonna see how long it lasts, how easy the application is, if the bond is good, if the tool is as good, and I'll do a wear test and compare all of it for you. So if you want to check it out, keep watching. Okay guys, so I went ahead and opened everything to compare, and looking at the instructions, it is extremely identical to how Lashify recommends application as well. So there's no difference there. The one thing that I did notice that was different is that it says that the wisps, they call them these wisps, whereas Lashify calls these gossamers, and the Falscara lashes say that they are reusable, whereas Lashify was technically designed for them not to be reusable, but as people started wearing them, they realized that they can be reused. I reuse them successfully all the time. Some gossamer styles are much easier to reuse than others. Like the thicker the lashes, the sturdier they are, and they will stand up a lot more. So I'm curious because some of these look almost identical to some of the Lashify styles that maybe don't stand up quite as well. And I'm curious how long they'll actually last. But I went ahead and got them all out. Sorry, my hair is driving me nuts. I'm gonna go ahead and pin it back because I'm gonna show you guys application here in a second. So my starter kit came like this, whereas the other ones come like this. So my first thought is, if they're reusable, it's gonna be hard to place them back into this container. in my opinion. Once you pull it out, they don't really go back in. Okay, so this is the first style. This is the volumizing. So if you kind of can look there, they're crisscrossed, all right? Which is a little different than most of the Lashify styles are to a degree, but mostly the only one that is really crisscrossed are the E's, which are the thickest, most dense. I don't even know if you can tell. They're not even as crisscrossed as this volumizing style. Let me see if I can put them side by side so you can kind of see. Can you kind of compare there? So these are much thicker. These are the ones I use on a daily basis so I don't have to stack. Stacking means placing more than one on top of each other to get a thicker effect. So these are very straight. Okay, there's not much curl to them. Whereas the E's are pretty curled. Okay, so I normally wear E's and B's, which have a similar curl to C's. This is getting confusing. Which, can you tell from looking at this side how curled those are? Okay, so my first impression of this volumizing style is that they're pretty straight. I mean, there's a slight curl to them, but not very. Okay, so they're not very curly. So if I was to compare, they would be most like our B lashes, but just slightly thicker. Okay, so this is the volumizing style from Kiss, and this is the B lash. Okay, do you see how much of a difference that curl is? It's a big difference in curl. But the volumizing one is thicker. Now if I place, oh gosh, you guys are flying all over the place. Let's see. It's really hard to show these itty bitty flyaway gossamers. Okay, so this is the volumizing lash. This is a B lash from Lashify, and this is the E lash from Lashify. So I'm even comparing lengths, because if you do not know, Lashify has they have everything from 8mm lengths to 18, which are extremely long. I wear a combination of 10, 12s, and 14s. So I love that you can custom shape it to your eye. Not everyone can wear the same length gossamer, because if they hit your brows, they look extremely unnatural, and everyone has different eye lengths this way, and smaller eyes need smaller lengths. So that is my first, I'd say, con to the Kiss lashes, is that there's no variance in length. You get the same length for your entire eye, which isn't going to be as natural looking, because even strip lashes are normally tapered. They're not all the same length. Okay, so there's a difference in curl, and there's a difference in thickness. I'd say it's not as thick as the E's, but it's thicker than the B's, and has nowhere near the curl. But I'm gonna try these today. I wanna see what they look like. As far as length, the volumizing length is actually the shortest one compared to the other two styles. It looks like it is a 12 millimeter length, whereas both I'm gonna mix these up if I put them together. This is lengthening, and it is a 14 millimeter. So let's pull one of these out. So lengthening is extremely similar in my opinion. Okay, so another downfall is that once you take them out of the package, there is no marking of any kind to tell you what kind these are. So I suggest using a Sharpie, writing them down so you know which style is what. At least with Lashify, it's always on the bottom. So, okay, I had mixed them up. So this is lifting. I was curious what exactly lifting meant. To me, it has more of a curl, okay, which makes sense. To lift the eye, it's more of a curl. I think these are the closest, I'd say, to our C's. So this one is the Kiss Lash, and this is our C, and this one is 14 millimeter, like almost right on. It might be 13, might be slightly shorter, but the only thing is that this lifting lash is thicker, okay? And if you look at it, it looks like it has a variety of sizes of actual lashes, whereas the Lashify one is it has a slightly thicker lash, which I actually find that the C's break down pretty easily because they're so thin, but the Kiss lashes are even thinner, but it has some thicker and some thinner lashes. So it makes it look thicker. I like the effect. It looks really pretty. So I think I'm gonna use those on the eye as well, and we're gonna see how they work together. But for the most part, lifting, I believe, is closest to a C14, okay? Now we get into the lengthening ones. The lengthening ones are definitely closest to our A's, which A's are the most natural. Doesn't have quite of a curl. It's more of a straighter lash. Okay, so this is the Lashify lash, and this is the Kiss lash. And they're very similar. It looks like the Kiss lash is slightly wider and might have a little bit more lashes on it than the Lashify one. But obviously each gossamer kind of varies. They're not all identical, so it's hard to make a perfect comparison, but for the most part, that's how I would compare the actual styles of the 3 Kiss lashes. Okay, so when it comes to my next comparison, it would be the tool, okay? So if you're not aware, Lashify has their control wand, okay? It comes in a bunch of different colors. They're, for the most part, there was a couple of different versions, but they were designed to like fit the contour of your eye so that you can fuse, which is when you press down to make them stick. You can do your entire eye at the same time. Okay, and this hump in it is designed so that it can actually go over the nose and fit and still be able to do that eye. Okay, so it is very well thought out, an amazing tool. It even comes with these wandums you can buy that help the wand not be as sticky. I love it because it really covers more of a surface area, and when I fuse, I feel like I get a better fuse using this wandum. So I will apply with this for more control, and then I always fuse with this for a wider fuse. So I always use 2, and I love that tool. So my first impression of this is that, for one, it does not fit the contour of your eye whatsoever. It is more just like a giant tweezer. So I'm gonna try to do it with this. I don't feel like it's gonna have as good of a fuse with this flat portion. These are all well designed to really clamp down tight. And this one it doesn't even fully, if it only clamps maybe to right there. Okay, so that's what I think about the tool. So my biggest thing to really, I feel like, make the comparison is gonna be longevity, which all depends on the bond, right? So I do like the fact that this Falscara has the bond on one side, the seal on the other. I like that it's in one tube. Lashify has a lot of different bond options. You'll see in my videos, I've tried them all. They're all used differently. I'm assuming this is gonna be most like the Whisper Light. So that's what I'm gonna compare it to. So the Whisper Light from Lashify comes in a white on one side. Okay, it also comes with a black on the other side. They have different versions that have more of a mascara wand that you can also buy. I prefer the pointed tip. So this one, I believe, comes with that mascara, the micro wand. Oh gosh, that is, okay. Wasn't expecting that. The picture, okay. So this is the other type of end that comes with the seal. They call it a micro tip, micro mascara tip. Okay, it's like a micro brush, right? I prefer the pointed tip. I feel like I get more control of placement, and this one is a little big for me, but I've used both just fine. So looking at the packaging, that's what I was picturing, right? It looks identical. Nope, this does not look at all like the picture on the package. That is a much bigger tip. It's not as long. It's a lot fatter. It's more of a brush. So that one might be a little bit difficult. Also, the bond is black. So mascara does have a black bond. I don't use the black side. I find it's messier because if you get it anywhere, it's gonna show black. I like the white. It dries clear. You can't see it. You can kind of see where you're placing it better because it does look white until it dries. So also the white seal from Lashify is stronger than the black, which is why I always apply with the white seal so I get better longevity. Lashify also has several different kinds of bond and seal. If you've seen me, my preference is the glass, which is a clear waterproof seal and coat. It takes away the stickiness, and this doesn't say anything about waterproofing it. So I prefer that one over the seal and finish, which is not waterproof. This one looks like it's not waterproof either. And it's got, again, a small, and it looks more similar to the seal and finish in my opinion. It doesn't look as clear. It looks like it's slightly white. Yeah, it's slightly white. It works fine, at least the Lashify one does. It just sometimes will leave, since it's not purely clear, that white sometimes makes your lashes look a little bit cloudy over time, to where they're not as black. That clear kind of coats them and keeps them more, it's hard to explain, more to where they don't look as dirty as quickly. Until you're a Lashify wearer, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's like the simple thing of like after applying eyeshadow or getting like fuzzy stuck in your eyelashes, you don't think that's gonna be a problem until you try it. So I'm interested to see how the bond and seal work. I am going to try both and compare them. Okay, enough talking. Let's actually apply these bad boys. Because when it comes to looking at the actual spine, okay, we call it the spine, that's what holds all the lashes together. The volumizing one has a much thicker spine, which is, in my opinion, more comparable. It's not even as thick. It's not as thick as the one the E, which has the thickest of all of the styles. Lashify does have styles A, B, C, D, E, F. I think that's it in all those sizes. So E has the thickest spine. I feel like that is what gives it the greatest reusability, because then the lashes don't break. That spine breaks really easily. That is what breaks down with oils and with wear. And if you're pulling it off with removal, that is what's gonna break first. So the volumizing one has a pretty thick spine. They actually all have a little bit of a thicker spine, I would say, the smaller Lashify lashes. Okay, so my main goal when I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna apply the Kiss lashes just like I do the Lashify lashes, because I know what works and they are similar enough that I don't think that's gonna create any kind of problem. But I also wanna see if you can easily stack these, if you can overlap edges, because I always recommend overlapping. And that was one thing that the instructions say, line them up right next to each other for a seamless look. I feel like if you line them up right next to each other, those corners are what will pop up and slip, and that is what gives you less wear time. So I never recommend that. I always overlap my edges for a more secure hold. So I'm gonna do that, and I also wanna see if I can wear my Lashify lashes with it. So I'm gonna do one eye using only their seal and protect, or their, let's see, bond and seal. And then I'm gonna apply the same identical set on the other eye and use Lashify's to see if their bond is as good, if we get the same wear time from both. Okay, so I went ahead and pulled out all the lashes I'm gonna need. I'm gonna do a mixture of both the volumizing and the lifting. And I just noticed that there is 5 for each eye in the Kiss lashes, and Lashify has 6 for each. So you get 2 more in your Gossamer cartridge for Lashify. And that reminded me that I didn't even touch on price, which is I think the main reason why this was a requested video, because this is such a more affordable price point to get started, to try it, to see if you like it. The Falscara, let's see, starter kit, it was like $19. And then each one of these was another 6 or 7, something around in there. But the starter kit's definitely the best deal. You can also buy the tools, the bond, and even a remover separately as well, so you can refill. But the Lashify control kit is a bit of an investment. It's over $120. There's always a discount code. I have one if you ever need one. But the Gossamers itself, when you're refilling, are anywhere from $10 to $20 a piece. I'm a part of Lashify X, so you get them half price. So they're a little bit more expensive. Okay, so we're gonna see if they're really worth it. All right, let's go ahead and start application. No matter what, I'm gonna do my eye prep the exact same way. So I use black Q-tips from Amazon, and I use micellar water to just clean my eyelids. So the first thing you need to know about these lashes is that, at least with Lashify, the oils from your skin is going to be the first thing that destroys any kind of, it's going to break down the lash, and it's going to create it not to last as long from the bond. Okay, so you want to make sure your eyes are free of oil. So I just kind of clean my lash line, and I make sure I don't have any residual bond from the last time. So I usually will comb out my lashes with a disposable spoolie. And then I have very straight lashes, so you don't want lashes sticking down in between where you can see them, your natural lashes. So I always give them a quick curl just to make sure they're up out of the way, because again, these are not strip lashes. These go under your natural lash line and are gonna give that seamless effect. You're not gonna be able to see them from the top. The only way you can see them is if you look up under your eye. So not on the waterline, just glued, but they do glue to your lashes, your natural lashes. So the only way you can wear this product is if you at least have some lashes for them to be glued to. Okay. All right, let's get into this. Here goes nothing. All right, so the bond. I am going to try my hardest to not be messy with this. And I'm gonna try to show you guys while I'm looking down. Oh gosh. So this is really hard. I don't know if you can already see, to not get globs with this thick of a brush. Really make sure you are, let's just wipe off the end of the brush, because really that's where you're going to be doing your application from, is the end. Now, I like to do kind of a thin coat right at the base of my lashes. And I can tell that already that this dries really quickly. Quicker than Whisper Light. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit there. If you get clumps, you can always use that spoolie to kind of brush through it. Similar to, oh my gosh, it's like drying super fast. Similar to when I use the bondage from Lashify, you kind of have to apply it and then brush through it slightly. Okay, let's try this tool. So I'm gonna apply in much the same way I do Lashify. I'm gonna put the lifting ones where I normally put my E's, okay, because they're closer to 14s, okay? Grab them by the tip, lift in place. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna fuse. I'm gonna clamp right at the lash line. Oh my gosh, yeah. This bond is closer to bondage in my opinion, from what I can already tell. It just stuck, which is how bondage behaves. It does say on the tube that has biotin in it, which I know bondage does as well. So maybe it is closer to bondage than Whisper Light than I originally thought. Okay, so I've got my first one on there. Looks good. And now I'm going to apply a little bit of bond to both sides, kind of a little bit on that, I almost called it gossamer, that wisp. This is a wisp, so that I can overlap that edge. And I'm gonna place the next one right next to it. Push it on. Oh, and it moved on me. This is a lot harder to control, in my opinion, and I find this tool is harder to get close to the lash line. Oh man, it's really sticky. Okay, so I just placed one of the volumizing ones, since they're shorter, on my outside corner, and I'm not loving how straight it is. I'm not used to straight. I like my lashes very curled, so I'm not a big fan of that, but we're gonna roll with it. Okay, so now we're gonna do another one in the middle. You guys, I have to be honest, I'm not liking this brush in the least. I can see if you are a newbie it would be very difficult. And I am not a newbie. I have been applying these for a very long time. Now, see what I did there? I did not like the placement of that, so I gently pulled it off by the tips, okay? And I'm gonna try again. I wanna stack it a little bit more. There we go. Oh man, you gotta gently pull away after you fuse, and then make sure you're getting off all that bond so it doesn't stick, because these are pretty sticky. But those lifting lashes I really like. Those are pretty. They have a great curl to them. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more. This bond is super sticky. It's very easy to just place it and it doesn't fall off or anything like that. So we're gonna do one more volumizing. Gently pull away. Okay, now I want to try, so they don't have anything, like this is, if I stopped right there, I find that very harsh. I mean, that is the shortest one, and it's just too long for that close inside my eye. So I'm gonna try, where did it go? There it went. One of the Lashify 10s. Okay, you can even go as low as 8 if you have smaller eyes. Now I do notice, so I normally wear this many Lashify Gossamers across my eye, but I am much farther in than I normally am. So these are slightly wider than the Lashify Gossamers as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and apply a C10, which is the small one. I always angle that. Oh gosh, and see, that looks funky because the C's are curled. There we go, that looks a little bit better. C's are curled much more. Oh my gosh, this is very sticky. Ugh, I'm not loving the way that looks. I'm trying not to be picky, but yeah, so this bond is very similar to bondage. We'll see if it wears as well as bondage. Bondage is the bond from Lashify that is made to be waterproof, have activated charcoal, so it is more bacteria resistant and is supposed to give you a longer wear time than Whisper Light. Now, I always use Whisper Light still to this day because it's the easiest to use. I love the application. It's not quite as sticky, and it gives me a full week. So I have no need to really use a stronger bond when I don't necessarily need one. So that's the finished product. I wish these were a little bit more curled, but otherwise I like it. And I didn't even stack. So if I did want to stack, I would probably stack with this volumizing one and put a couple here in the center, but I like that. I don't feel like it necessarily even needs it, okay? So now is normally when I would take this wand and fuse the whole thing, but I'm gonna make sure my wand is really cleaned off. Okay, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to squeeze and then gently pull away along the entire lash line one last time. That is so sticky. Okay, now it's time to seal that in place. Okay, so the seal says it has vitamin E. So that's awesome. Now this is a micro wand. It's just a short one. So I'm gonna really concentrate that at the lash line. Try to wiggle it there. Now this will remove the stickiness, which is super important because this bond is super sticky. Now I'm even gonna go through on the top side because that is the part that was sticking so badly. And you want all that stickiness gone. I'm just gonna kind of run it through the ends. You can see kind of how the ends are tipped white. So this is definitely not a clear bond. And if you feel like you got any kind of stickiness on your lower lash line, you can always use this on your lower lashes as well. It removes that sticky feeling. Okay, we've got one eye done. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna do the other eye, and I'm gonna do it with the Lashify bond. In fact, I'm even gonna show you the tools because you can buy the tools separately on Lashify. So even if this is a really great bond, I don't really like the application tip at all. And I'm not a big fan of this tool. So you could always just buy this separately and use these products if they turned out to be just as good. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna show you how I apply the Whisper Light on this eye. So I just gently put some across the entire eye. Okay, I'm gonna grab my first lash, which is the lifting. Now, key with placement is, I don't know if you guys can see how that is touching my waterline? That is no bueno. If it's touching your waterline, it's not gonna last. Just grab it by the tip. It also won't glue properly, okay? Because you want that spine to be glued to your lashes. If the spine part is actually glued to or not glued, touching your waterline, it can't stick. And then that's gonna pop up and then that is where you're gonna lose a lash, okay? So I find the biggest thing is making sure you've got that placement right. So as close to the waterline as possible. And then squeeze, okay? Fuse that bad boy on there. And then I'm gonna go in with more on both sides. This is why I like this pointed tip. I can easily just put a small amount on both sides of that gossamer in order to glue the next wisp or gossamer, whatever, spine to it, so that I get better longevity. You see how easy it is to just fuse and lift away? It's not sticking. This is why I love Whisper Light. It's by far my favorite bond. Now, that being said, not everyone can use Whisper Light and get a week's wear. You kind of have to experiment. You have to try it first, see, and then adjust from there. Okay, I'm gonna place the other volumizing lash. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm placing the other lengthening. I almost messed that up. Not lengthening. Ugh, these names confuse me. A, B, C, and D is a lot easier. Not lengthening, lifting lash. Right next to it. well, okay, when it's white and you get too much, I just simply touch it, take off some. Too much of any bond is a bad thing. This one clearly says less is more, and it is sticky enough. You don't need a whole lot. I am finding that these, maybe it's just this volumizing style. This volumizing style has a thicker band. They're a lot harder to kind of line up. Like if you looked under my waterline, it's not so pretty, but you know what? You can't see it. Does not have to be pretty under there. Okay, last one. Here's my Lashify C10. I always kind of do it at an angle so that they kind of fill in that space where I don't have a whole lot of lashes. There we go. So you see how much faster that one went? The tools help. I definitely find that the tools help. And then I'm gonna go in with my wand with the wandum, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. Definitely covers more surface area. And then I'm gonna use glass. So I'm curious if this lash, which I don't know if you guys can see that, it left like white. It did not dry clear. It left white on the tip of my lashes. So if you're using this one, don't go all the way to the tips. I'm used to doing my entire lash to make my entire lash waterproof. I'm gonna have to use a little bit of mascara to blacken that because they look white. They're tipped white. Okay, glass is completely clear, so you can be generous with this product. I wiggle through the base. I'm curious if this side will last longer. Okay, so there you go. I know you probably can't see the white. Do I have anything black I can put it against? Can you see how white the tips are? You can wear mascara with the lashes, at least I have with Lashify. I feel like it's really unnecessary because you don't really need them to be any thicker or anything like that. But in this case, I'm gonna use a tiny bit just to blacken the tips because that's gonna drive me crazy. And then come through it so they don't look clumpy. Okay, problem solved. So you can, if your lashes start looking dull or not so black after a few days, add a little bit of mascara. It makes them a little bit harder to clean, but really, I clean my lashes with just isopropyl alcohol and they're clean enough and it takes off all the mascara. Okay, so eyes are done. I'm gonna wear these bad boys, see how long they last, and I will come back for a final check-in and let you know my final thoughts on pros and cons of each one. Okay, friends, so I'm back for a check-in. Don't mind the way I look. It's one of those no makeup, dry shampoo, lounging around the house all day kind of days because I don't have to go anywhere. So bear with me. It has been a week since I applied the lashes. So let's talk pros and cons. Okay, so most of these I probably mentioned throughout the video, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update. So if you don't remember, this side was the Kiss lashes, okay? And then this side was still the Kiss lashes, but I used the Lashify Bond and sealer, the glass, and this side I used just the all Kiss products. Okay, so get in here nice and close. Now I did apply Lashify, the smallest ones, just on the inner corner. This was purely the Kiss bond, and I lost this inner corner one after about 3 days. So longevity wise, I don't feel like I got as good a results. Also, can you see how this, I don't know, might be able to see it better underneath. The bond split, and those lashes that were overlapping went like this, which is why I always recommend overlapping, because when you get it to split like this and give gaps, it separates. And these are just like about to fall off. I will be real, okay? They don't look pretty. I'm dying to remove them right now. So here are my thoughts. Okay, because the Kiss lashes are a lot wider, the actual base of them is wider than the Lashify. I do think that when I put them on, I probably went too far in, which is why I lost this inner corner. So I don't have a whole lot of lashes there on the inner corner. And I normally have to kind of start back so that I can get better wear time there. And I noticed that lash, I did use a Lashify C10 on that inner corner. It had completely fallen apart as well. Meaning there was too many oils kind of from my inner eye that it broke down the bond of that lash. So that, coupled with the fact that it was too far in, because they were all shifted over slightly because those were wider. Hopefully that makes sense. I think is why that inner corner did not last. But as far as this splitting and the way it's looking now, which honestly, guys, it does not look pretty, is due to the bond. So I don't like this bond. Like I like the Lashify bond. Granted, I did seal with this too, so I would probably have to experiment a little bit more to where if I used maybe this bond and the Lashify seal, if maybe that would make a difference. But all in all, the combo of these two, which was the convenient part, that it was like all in one, did not hold up as well. So if you look at the Lashify bond side, they're all still in place. Okay, so the lashes themselves, the Kiss lashes themselves, although they're not my favorite because of the fact that you don't get an option of length or style, really, you don't get like an entire shorter ones in. If they would change this so that you would get longer, maybe a couple longer, a couple medium, and a shorter one, it would be fabulous. I am so used to the Lashify system and being able to customize it to fit my eye. I don't think I could wear an entire eye of those with them looking natural in the least, because I have smaller eyes and I can't wear those really long ones on the inner corners. It looks off. So if they would come out with, and maybe they will, they come out with some kind of system that has multiple links, or come out with more that you could buy the individual sizes like you can with the Lashify Gossomers, I think it would be great. Different styles as well. I still find that this style is a little too straight for my liking, but really they did not look bad. I'm just picky after wearing Lashify for a couple of years. So as far as Kiss goes, I would say the pros are the price. It's a great starting price. And the convenience of being able to pick it up at your local drugstore, and it would be really easy to try this system. So as far as Lashify goes, their bond is still superior. Their choices of customizing your eye shape, your look, with different sizes and different styles is by far superior. And I find the application ease of Lashify a lot better, because the bond is less sticky. The bond was easier to work with since they do have a clear version as well. And the tools, the Lashify tools are by far superior than the Kiss one. So here is my final recommendation. I recommend if you are looking to try a Lashify-like system, a lash extension at home kind of based system, I think Kiss is a great one to start with and see if you even like the application. And if you do, I would invest in these. So the wand, the Whisper Light bond, and the glass sealer. By far, I could not do my lashes without these. But if you're going to be doing them every once in a while and you want to make sure you're getting the longevity and it's not a hassle, you could totally use these with this and get kind of the best of both worlds. Or pick up these and use these as your base lashes and pick up maybe one gossamer of the smaller ones to customize maybe a little bit further. But these tools are much better in my opinion. These aren't looking super reusable to me, so I'm gonna remove them, see if they're easy to remove, and I'll come back and let you know if any survived. Okay, I'm back. Looking scarier every time you see me, but that's okay. Okay, so I went ahead and removed both sides with Lashify's Melt Away. I did not pick up the Kiss one. It looked very similar, still a dual phase. Theirs is just pink. So I have no reason to think that it wouldn't work because it's not super hard to remove these bad boys. For years, well, not for years, but for a long time, I was removing my lashes before they came out with Melt Away, using just an eye makeup remover from the drugstore. So I'm sure the other one is fine. If you try it, comment below and let me know how it is. I'd love to know. So I'm very surprised by these results. I knew this eye looked wonky, but I didn't realize how wonky it was. I'm gonna show you what the lashes look like that came off. So, do you see how clumped together that is? Okay. And this one is kind of it's just falling apart. The funny thing is, see how the spines just did not hold up, like they're bendy. I don't know if you can see that. Like whoops, and this is all the Kiss brands, but see how it just, I don't know if you guys can see this. See how it's just like no longer stiff. It's just kind of, I don't know if you guys can see how wonky they are. There's like a pretzel, right? So every single one, I thought I was gonna get one salvageable one, but they're all like that. So it's almost like the spines just didn't hold up, which is kind of crazy to me that the bond would destroy them. But these are the exact same lashes used on the other side, but using the Lashify bond, they held up fine. I got 4. Only one was like that. And 4 others, gosh, they're all sticking. Maybe you guys can, I'm sure if I lift this up, they'll all fall off. But do you see how wonky this side is? And I got 4 that look brand new on the other side. Okay, so this eye was totally reusable using Whisper Light. These weren't. So it might have more to do with the seal than the bond. Maybe this seal just did not protect them from oils, because oils are usually what will break down the spine of the gossamer lash. And since these spines held up fine, maybe it was the glass instead. So obviously I'd have to do more experimentation to see exactly if it was the bond. I guess I'd have to try this with glass and see if that makes a difference. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting to say the least. As far as removal goes, they both came off fine. This bond was harder to remove from my eye, which doesn't surprise me because this bond was more like bondage in terms of texture and stickiness, and Whisper Light is the easiest one to remove. Also when you're cleaning them, so I soak my lashes literally just a few minutes in 90% isopropyl alcohol, so rubbing alcohol, and it sanitizes them and removes the bond. So when you use Whisper Light, you can literally see the blonde almost turn cloudy on the lashes, and it just comes right off with a simple Q-tip or using a spoolie to kind of comb it through, whereas this bond did not. It's all gummed up still. I don't know if you can see that black stuff. Oh my gosh, I literally have a gossamer stuck to my finger. Oh guys, okay, maybe that's time to call it quits. Enough with the Lashify comparison. I hope that helped you guys. I know I had some questions on whether these were worth it, and I was very curious to see as well. So definitely pros and cons to both sides. I think probably the only con for Lashify is that you have to order it and it's pricier, but they were the pioneers in the industry. So they've been at it for a lot longer and they have products that really work. So it's up to you which one you try. And I hope that helped. If it did, please comment below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Love ya.